Do you want to spend your Halloween on a haunted hayride? Well, let's talk about the new indie horror film, Hayride to Hell. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Our Pass. Today I'm talking about Hayride to Hell, which is coming to theaters on October 20th, 2023. It is a new indie horror comedy that has a fantastic cast, headlined by Bill Moseley, who I loved. I saw him last in Prisoners of the Ghostland, which was really fun. I love his character, and I like his character in this movie as well. And it has a fun overall premise. But my hot take is, I think you should probably actually pass on it. As much as I love the setup and the characters, the film is just kind of like a haunted ride. It doesn't have enough to keep you scared. It has some rough acting and writing and some so-so CG at times, and overall, it doesn't have enough going for the haunted hayride to keep your attention. So I liked the idea. They put a lot of effort into it, but overall, I think you should pass on it. So that being said, I'm going to tell you a little more about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't know what happened in this movie, I would turn it off then. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Hayride to Hell, you have Farmer Sam, played by Bill Moseley, who is this quirky farmer with 250 acres of land. And every Halloween, he puts together this like haunted hayride. The crowds come, they get on, like a tractor essentially, and get pulled through various scenarios of scary situations. It's like a haunted house, except outdoors and a farm. And then they also sell apple pies, they sell cider. It is kind of a fun event for the whole town. But as I would imagine this happening with a lot of farmers, and one of the reasons that this film got written, there are some kind of encroachments from the suburban areas trying to reuse parts of Farmer Sam's land. They want to redevelop it. They want to use it for, other purposes. And Farmer Sam's like, no, like I own this. This has been in my family for generations. And so he's trying to fight to keep his land there. Well, he comes up with this crazy idea on how to make sure that he can keep his farm forever, but will it work, or will there be dire consequences, or both? So, things I liked about this movie. The first, look, I love the cast, but I especially love Bill Moseley. I thought he was fantastic. He was so much fun. His character is just kind of a little over the top, very quirky. He kind of doesn't take anything too seriously, even when some terrible things are happening. He kind of always has a little jab in there. He always is kind of like saying these comedic lines. But Bill Moseley is not the only really great person in this film. I really liked Kane Hodder as the sheriff. It was fun to see Kane Hodder as a not masked killer. That was a really interesting thing to see. And also it was fun to see Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder's push and pull. They are antagonists in this film. And so it was fun to see that as well. But I also really liked Peter Petrikos, who is kind of this like character who is in a bunch of the haunted hayride set pieces, but he is so much fun to see. He like kind of steals the scenes whenever he's in them. He is really good. He's really kind of entertaining. He plays these kind of like out there characters, but he does it really well. It feels like he has a theater background, because he definitely kind of like commands the stage, even though it's a like stage on a farm. He does a really good job with it. So this film definitely has a lot of fun characters and a good cast overall. The second thing I like the practical effects. There aren't a ton of them. Look, there's not a ton of practical effects, but when they are on there, they are practical, which is nice. There's some grisly body scenes. There are some deaths, as you would imagine. It's a horror movie. Of course, there's deaths. And there's a little bit of blood and guts. Like I said, it's not a ton, but when they're in there, they are practical, which I really liked. And the last thing I liked, I'll call it the fun music. There is this theme that it gets repetitive, but it is nice to kind of have it consistently throughout the film. It is almost like a carnival-y kind of tune that plays during the hayride and during some of the scenarios. It is nice to have that consistency, and it is catchy. So definitely, I would have thought I would have gotten tired of it because you hear it a lot, but I enjoyed it every time I heard it. All that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, I'm gonna call it like some bad effects. There are some bad CG lights in the movie. I think they were just trying to add some things, but they look very obvious. There's also some, artifacts, it seems like, from a green screen. You'll have characters who have like some artifacting around areas where I think they're like putting something in the background. The hayride, which is kind of a big hallmark of this film, has a lot of scenes that are clearly done out, but it feels like some of the kind of linking scenes, some of the in-between scenes feel like they were on some sort of like green screen type scenario. I don't know, maybe it's just the camera was really weird, but to me it felt like they had a good portions where people were talking where they weren't actually on the hayride itself, which looked weird. Just looked strange in a film that is set on a farm. I feel like they probably have plenty of space to do it. It was weird to have those not be on a green screen. And you just saw some like, between people's hair, there would be like a black bar, essentially, or like an area that looks clearly like it is right out of a green screen. So some of those things just kind of like rub me the wrong way, especially for a film that was trying to do practical for most of it. It felt weird to have these like random CG scenes. The second thing I didn't love as much is, I'm gonna call it like rough acting. There is some rough acting in here. And so you get that with an indie film, you get that with a small budget indie film, but there are some dramatic things that are supposed to happen. And if the acting isn't great, it doesn't really help to sell the story. Now, luckily, you've got those like really marquee tent poles in Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder, and then Peter, who I mentioned earlier. So there is definitely some good acting, but that is counteracted by some of the rough acting. And the third thing I didn't love is there is the writing is okay, it's serviceable, but it's not that great. There are some themes that kind of keep popping in that feel a little bit forced. There is some manufactured drama in here that tries to like ratchet up the drama, but doesn't really feel like it is justified or does a really great job with it. So again, this film is all about this big conflict that happens, and without like really good drama to kind of build it up, it doesn't really feel that dire. And the last thing I didn't love as much, look, the film is called Hayride to Hell. It is about a haunted hayride, but that is the majority of the film. So it feels like there is not enough happening. And the film is not short. It is about a 90-minute movie. So they definitely put the content in there, but it feels like maybe it could have been sped up in some places and maybe added a little bit more drama, added a little bit more kind of nuance to the film to make it feel like a more realized experience. So all that being said, Hayride to Hell comes to theaters on October 20th, 2023. Just in time for Halloween, if that is what you're thinking. My recommendation is to pass on it. But hey, if you see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And I'm going to go into the ending right now. So if you don't want to know what happened in this film, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So like I said, Hayride to Hell is focused on Farmer Sam, who is this really kind of pillar of the community. Every year he does this haunted hayride. It seems like people come out and enjoy it. People are supporting it, but the kind of town around him is pushing against it. They want to reuse his land. They want to develop more. They feel like it's kind of a waste to have this big farm out there. And so it's kind of coming to a head when some people from the city council, two of the sheriffs, and some of the developers all seem to be working against him. And also, he just has some random like interlopers, some kids who seem to just like want to mess with him, are constantly going onto his farm, going to his family plot, like his family cemetery, and just like drinking and destroying the headstones, which is pretty terrible stuff, pretty egregious. And so this all comes to a head when those kids get there. They are breaking his headstones. Farmer Sam runs out, gets a shotgun. It's filled with rock salt, so it's not lethal, but people don't know that. And he shoots one of the kids, hits him in the butt. The kid is in pain, but he's fine. Look, he's not bleeding. He's not hurt. But this causes the sheriff and his deputy to come out. The sheriff has been against Farmer Sam for a very long time. They have a antagonistic relationship. The sheriff wants to shut him down. And for some reason, Farmer Sam, when he's out there, he's got the gun, and he turns to the sheriff and the deputy. The deputy panics. He thinks that the gun is armed. He tases Farmer Sam, and Farmer Sam like goes into a seizure and appears like maybe he's going to die. Now, he doesn't die, but this incident kind of gives the sheriff the ability to close down the hayride. He wants him out. And so Farmer Sam feels like this is going to be it. Like, he's already behind his taxes. The city wants to take his land. He needs this hayride to kind of prop up his overall year. And without that, there's going to be nothing. So he proposes something else. After he recovers from his seizure in the hospital, he says, look, I'm going to retool the hayride to hell. You're all going to go on it, and if it's not the best thing you've ever seen, I will shut down myself and sell my land. Very weird, very, very, very weird proposal, but they all take it up on it. They all want to kind of see this farm gone. And he's bringing in like the town city council people who are trying to shut him down, the sheriff and the deputy who don't like him, and the developers who don't like him. They're all clearly going to be against him. What could he have? Well, he might have an ace up his sleeve. Let's see. So he retools the event. He makes it scarier and scarier. And now the big day comes. Now we have the hayride. Everyone gets there. They start off on the hayride. And during this time, the kids also end up on the family plot. And one of these kids is like the son of the sheriff. So I think maybe he feels like he's above the law. He's very blatantly destroying this property and desecrating graves. Not good. Not good at all. But what happens to him is maybe not the proper response. But hey, you know what? It's a horror movie. You're going to have elevated responses. The kids are out there, they're drinking, they're destroying gravestones. One of the kids goes and urinates on a grave, and that is when some people in ghillie suits pop up. They were waiting there, and they tase the kid. Now, one of the kids gets really, really scared. He runs, he gets pursued, and he trips and like falls and impales himself. So there are 4 kids. One of them dies from a tree. And you're like, okay, well, that's not great, but we'll see what happens here. Now, as the hayride goes, it's pretty much the same as last year, but then they start getting into some interesting hayride events. Now, there's a few main new occurrences. Now, one of the standard ones is a William Tell style thing where you've got a dummy with an apple and they shoot a crossbow at the dummy. Sometimes they hit the apple, sometimes they hit the dummy. It's all in good fun. Well, this time they're retooling it. So they put the sheriff's son, who they tased and captured, in a mask, tie him to a tree, and during this time, like, there's this eerie music that they play during the hayride so that you can't hear what the kid is saying. The person steps up, takes a shot, hits the apple. Everything's fine. But then they say, hey, is there a marksman out there? The sheriff volunteers as a marksman. He takes aim. They had tweaked the crossbow, so it's going to fire low. He takes aim, fires, bam, gets the dummy, which is his kid, right in the eye. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know that he just killed his kid, but you definitely see the mask split. You definitely see blood come out. It looks very realistic. The crowd is happy, and they keep moving. There is also a scene where like someone is tied up like for a bog, kind of like King Kong style. Like the person is tied up, dressed up, and all of a sudden this like character who is, I guess, a Belize man who is like helping Farmer Sam a lot comes up and like goes and like slashes the guy, cuts the arms free, but then ends up killing the sacrifice. That was one scene, and that was another one of the kids. So now we've got 3 kids gone. One was impaled, one was shot with a arrow, and one was slaughtered. We only have 1 left. They keep going. There is a hanging scene where the last kid has been, done up as in an execution style where they put thing over his head. They get one of the participants, this character named Hazel, who works on the farm, but she has been skimming from the farm for a while. Apparently she's not a very good person. So they get her to go and like kick out the log holding this person up. The person falls down, starts hanging. That is another new event here, but also the last of the kids. So that's 4 kids, all dead. And the hayride continues. Now, you also see a scene where you've got some EMTs, and it's like a don't drink and drive scenario, because they're like, all your organs are going to be harvested, and they have like a bunch of organs that have to go to various places, and it looks like they're working on a real body. Well, they are working on those kids that have been killed, and so they are harvesting those organs, sending them off to various locations for money. It's all part of the Farmer Sam plan to try to get the farm afloat. They are harvesting the organs from these kids, and the hayride continues. Then we get to a like pilgrim scene, a like burning the witch scene, and that is where they get Hazel to come and like play the witch. This is where Peter Patrikios does a really good job. He plays the pilgrim who's like, witch, where are you? They get Hazel, they tie her up to a pyre, they set the pyre on fire. Everyone thinks, oh my gosh, look at these effects, as Hazel is like screaming because she stole money from the farm. She stole a lot of money from the farm, so now she has to pay. Again, very strange escalation, right? The kids, not good. Desecrating graves, not good. Being murdered for it, maybe not the right response. Hazel, stealing money from the farm, not good, very bad. Getting burned alive, maybe not the right response. But that takes care of her. They keep going, and then we get to a Frankenstein's monster scene where they take one of the deputies, who is fairly slow, but it was strange because he did accidentally tase Farmer Sam, but he actually loved the farm. He wanted the farm to succeed. He wanted it to, he kept mentioning much of times, like, it's gonna be a shame when they shut this down. He seemed to actually like love this farm and wanted to stay around. And they take him out and they hook him up in a Frankenstein's monster style scenario where they're going to electrocute him to life. Well, they are actually going to electrocute him. And so they end up electrocuting him. During this time, they also take the rest of the hayride people hostage when they realize that this deputy is actually getting killed. Again, he was one that actually like wanted to keep the farm, so it felt weird to kill him, but it's fine. They take the rest of the people hostage. There's also this like strange smoke that billows in before this scene that kind of like gets the characters a little high. Like two of the characters start making out, two of the characters feel a little loopy, but it doesn't seem to really kind of like hold much longer than that. It feels like it is a very temporary thing. I would have wanted it to kind of like affect them long term, but it feels like it is just a like one-off scene, and then they're fine after that. But now everyone is hostage as the hayride continues. The sheriff was handcuffed to the hayride. Everyone else is just kind of like taken hostage. Eventually, the three city council people who were all like getting ready to shut this down, they run, but they get caught in various ways and taken out with different farm equipment. And it's interesting. It is like very clever how they are taken out, but they are eventually taken out. Now you have the sheriff and the two developers. Now that you just have a couple people left, well, the developer's husband, he says, you know, he bravely sacrifices himself. He jumps on the person holding the gun. They fight. The gun is wrestled away. The sheriff picks up the gun. He is a crack shot, but apparently not that great of a shot because he aims to fire. The character who was holding them hostage dives away, and he shoots the developer in the heart, like in the face or the heart, something like that. He shoots the developer, so he's dead. So now there's only two people left: the sheriff and the female developer. Well, the sheriff decides he's going to shoot at Farmer Sam. Sam hides behind the tractor. So again, not a great shot. Doesn't really do a great job. And the female developer escapes, runs away, runs scared. Now the sheriff empties the clip. He doesn't have any more shots. So eventually one of the clowns comes up with a torch, and he like is ready to light the hayride on fire. The sheriff shoots him, but somehow it doesn't affect. I don't know if he's wearing like a bulletproof mask or something, but he shoots him in the face, and it doesn't do anything. So the clown takes off his mask. I guess he's wearing a bulletproof mask. Really, really impressive mask there. And throws a torch on the hayride. It starts to go up, but the sheriff is able to stamp it out. You're like, okay, that was weird. It's a very long scene, so it was weird that he like was able to stamp it out. You would expect it to go up. But that is when Farmer Sam, in the distractions, pulls out a flamethrower and just lights the whole thing on fire. And it's a cool scene, but unfortunately the effects aren't that great. The effects around the sheriff being lit on fire look clearly CG. You have a flamethrower. It was going to be a really awesome scene. They should have like pulled it back and had a dummy or something just to like show you the full brunt of the flamethrowing. It really kind of hurt this overall scene because I thought it was going to be really, really cool. And then you're like, oh, that just doesn't look very good. So that takes care of the sheriff. You only have one person left. The female developer, she's able to escape. She goes to the neighboring farm where there is a corn farmer, and she is in the field. She is scared. And you see this like big piece of farm machinery in front of her, you know, rumbling forward. It stops. She like begs for her life. And the farmer's like, are you from that hayride? Oh, I hate that hayride. I've been telling him to shut down. You think he's going to help, but no, he just is like, I can't stop the harvest. And he just runs over her. She gets like shecked. I don't know what the actual term for the corn thing is, but she gets processed into corn. Well, into what the corn would be. She gets pulverized into blood. Now she's gone, which is weird because the neighbor who has been wanting to shut down this farmer has the opportunity to shut down the farmer, and he just kills her. Maybe he actually likes the farmer. I don't know. Maybe it's their like unspoken rule. Who knows? But that is everyone. That is all the kind of people who are against Farmer Sam. Now, do they save the farm? Well, I guess they do. It is strange that like all these people from town went to his farm and died. You think that there's probably some bad evidence. And also, think of the conspiracy. There are like, I don't know, 10 people at least involved in this scheme. The farmer, his like main assistant, some of his hands, two of the paramedics who are involved in the organ trafficking. Like it feels like there is a lot of people involved in this overall plot. That seems like it'd be tough to keep under wraps, but they do it. They're able to sell enough organs to pay off the bank, fix a part of the farm, but get a new roof for the farm, and then also have enough saved stowed away for a rainy day. And on top of all that, they are able to process all the bodies into organic fertilizer for the farm. So I guess all's well that ends well. There is an epilogue in this film after the main film where they kind of keep track of the organs, find out how many they had, and then also you see all the cars that were at the farm get towed away and crushed. Again, seems like there would be a lot of evidence here. You got tow trucks taking them away. You got people crushing the cars. Feels like there is a very big conspiracy going on here, but I guess Farmer Sam is either paying them off or he has enough good grace in the community to kind of like let it all slide. But that is Hayride to Hell. During the credits, there's also scenes of pumpkins with the cast's name on them getting destroyed in various ways. There's a fun little Easter egg for the credits. It is fun to see kind of the imagination. Most of them get shot, but some of them get cut. Some of them get smashed. There's a bunch of ways that these pumpkins get destroyed. But that is Hayride to Hell. It comes to theaters on October 20th, 2023. And like I said, I think you should probably pass on it. But if you do check it out, let me know what you thought. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. Let me know I got right and wrong. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.